how we think of life as this set biological path, right? You're born, you grow up, you get old. But what if that whole map is, well, wrong? What if the stages of our lives, childhood, adulthood, even old age, aren't set in stone at all, but are actually social inventions, kind of like scripts written by the time and place we happen to live in? Today, we're going to unpack a concept that might just change how you see your own story, the life course. I mean, you've probably heard a version of this before, maybe you've even felt it. This acronym for the iPod generation, insecure, pressured, overtaxed, and debt-ridden, it's like a perfect snapshot of a tension that so many people are feeling today. It really captures this economic and social anxiety that seems to define an entire generational experience. And yeah, this tension plays out absolutely everywhere, from awkward family dinners to viral internet memes. The whole hashtag #OKBoomer thing, it became this massive cultural flashpoint, basically shorthand for the frustration younger generations feel when it seems like their struggles just aren't being understood by the folks who came before them. But is this just the classic, young people complaining about the old folks story we've heard a million times? Or could it be a sign that the actual path of life itself is changing in a really fundamental way? That's the big question we're going to dig into. To really answer that, we first need to get our heads around a pretty powerful idea that your life, my life, all of our lives are kind of following a script. Okay, so this slide makes a really crucial distinction. On the left, you've got the life cycle. That's the universal biological timeline we all know. But on the right, you have the life course, and that's a sociological idea. It argues that these stages aren't fixed. They're actually social constructions that can change dramatically depending on where and when you live. And this right here is the heart of it all. The life course perspective says our lives are shaped by social rules and economic realities. I mean, just think about it. The expectations for a 25-year-old today are wildly different from what they were 100 years ago, not because our biology changed, but because our society did. This is such a great way to think about it. Your life isn't some straight line dictated by biology. It's a journey, and the path is shaped by the social landscape all around you, full of all these unexpected twists and turns. So if life is a script, you're probably thinking, okay, show me the proof. Well, let's start with a really big one that might sound a little strange at first. The very idea of childhood is a pretty modern invention. That's right. This idea we have now, that childhood is supposed to be this special, protected time, totally separate from the adult world, is a relatively new concept in human history. For most of the past, it just wasn't a thing. Research into medieval Europe shows this so clearly. Children weren't seen as these innocent beings who needed to be sheltered. As soon as they were past infancy, they were basically treated as small adults. They worked right alongside the grown-ups, wore the same kinds of clothes, and even played the same games. A modern playground like this one is the perfect symbol of our current script for childhood. It represents a space designed specifically for children, for their development and their protection, an idea that would have been completely alien for most of human history. And it doesn't stop there. The teenager, that whole turbulent, confusing phase between being a kid and being a grown-up, that's also a recent invention. In tons of cultures, you just went straight from being a child into your adult roles, with no in-between stage at all. So if the script for childhood can be totally rewritten, what about adulthood? Well, that script is being rewritten right now, as we speak, and it's affecting all of us. For most of the 20th century, the script for being an adult was pretty straightforward and linear, right? You got your education, you found a career, and then you retired. It was like a simple 3-act play that guided generations. But as this recent report puts it so bluntly, that model is broken. It's just not suitable anymore for a world where people are living way longer and careers might have to span 60 years or more. The old map just doesn't work. And in its place, we're seeing these new kind of fuzzy stages emerge. Sociologists are talking about young adulthood, this extended period in our 20s and even 30s for exploration. But it's also a time of deep insecurity, which has led to the boomerang generation. Young adults who have to move back home with their parents because of financial instability. So if that old, predictable life path has basically vanished, what's replacing it? And what's the single biggest force that's driving this absolutely massive change? Well, the answer, in large part, is a massive demographic shift that's reshaping societies all over the globe. To put it simply, our world is getting significantly older. Take a look at this number. 1 in 3. 1 in 3 babies born today in developed countries is expected to live to be 100 years old. Just let that sink in for a second. The 100-year life is on its way to becoming the norm, not the exception, and that changes everything. And while life expectancy is rising almost everywhere you look, the progress is incredibly uneven. Where you're born still has a dramatic effect on your life course. But that overall trend, it's undeniable. Humanity is aging. Just look at this projection of the graying of Europe's population. It's wild. The proportion of people over 65 is set to explode, while the working age population shrinks. This puts immense pressure on everything from pensions to healthcare, and it's the real statistical backdrop for those intergenerational tensions we started with. So the old scripts are being torn up, and new ones are being written by these huge economic and demographic forces. This isn't just some academic idea. It's the reality you're living in right now. So the question isn't just who's holding the pen, but as the map of your life is being redrawn, how are you going to navigate it?